going on, guys? Rock light install today. We're going to be showing you how to do the installation process on this truck behind me. We have a Ford F250. Right here I have all the tools laid out. I'm kind of just going to go through what I use to approach the truck. We have our rock lights that you more than likely got from us. These are our 6 LED rock lights. They are newer to the website as well. They're much brighter than our previous version that we had. They will come with these rubber mounts as well. So you'll have a flat rubber mount with two different channels coming out. So you'll have one through the rear, one through the side here, and then same thing as well on this curved one. This is nice for bars and stuff, like if you're having it on any curved surface. Same with the exits there. And then I also have here these magnetic rock light mounts. These are a new product that we are also going to showcase in this video. These are very nice for our install, make things nice and easy, less self-tapping. So these are going to be available on our website. They are sold separately from the rock lights. So if you're interested in those, check those out. They have a 110 degree here. And we also have our 90 degree here. So depending on how you're wanting your light to shine on your suspension, you can get those accordingly. Next we have our basic tools. I have electrical tape, wire strippers, pry tool for your wheel liners, whatever. I already have wheel liners off of this one, so I'm not worrying about that. Needle nose for any general use. We have some self-tappers. We do use these on just a few areas of the truck. So those will go on to the rock lights. We have a solder here, solder iron, solder there, your impact tool with all your sockets, and then we have nuts and bolts for these mounts mainly. That's what we're going to use them for. We have zip ties to make things nice and neat, tidy, and then we have here our wire spool. This is 16 gauge. That's generally what we use on all of our installs. So power and ground, of course. We have our switch that we're going to wire into the truck. It's 3-pin. And then we also have a relay. There, regulate your wires accordingly. The power is all correct. You're not going to be burning through switches and such. So, and I also have these. They're plugs that we use for wheel liners, basically. So we use 2 rock lights in each wheel well, and we will wire 2 rock lights to these. So if you ever do need to take your wheel liners out, these are a much nicer option to, take those out, plug and play type thing. So that's nice. So yeah, we're gonna do 16 rock lights on this truck here, and we're gonna take you through the process. All right, step 1, starting out, I typically like to start from the front and then work my way to the passenger side and then the rear and then back to the driver's side. That's how I like to route the wires that we're doing. So I'm gonna mount 2 in the front, 2 on the side, 2 in the rear, 2 on the driver's side, and then it's gonna be 2 in each wheel well. So that's how we'll kind of coordinate stuff. So I do mounting first, and then that's when I like to add the wire, and we'll route it all accordingly, and then include the wheel liners as well. So let's get started with that. All right, so I'm gonna start in the front. We have these rock lights mounted on these brackets already, and I'm going to mount 2 of them against this frame here. I'm gonna also, with these mounts, this suspension is all done up, powder coated, so we want these the shocks, these Fox shocks here to show this lovely powder coating. So I think I'm going to put one here on the frame, just like that, and I'll put the other same position but on the opposite side, just against the frame there. So they're even on both sides, and they're both going to shine, directly downward. We're going to do the side now. We're doing 2 rock lights. So I have these rock lights mounted on the brackets. In the front, I used the 90-degree brackets. These are the 110. So I'm kind of using these ones to show that we're gonna project light down like this way to the angle, at an angle, rather than just straight down. I'm gonna put this one, I'm kind of just using the door for reference, the middle of the door usually. So I got one there, and then I'll put the other one down here as well. Let's see, just about here. And I'm putting them in an open area too, because we have these the motors for the power steps, so you gotta watch for how, you know, what's covering and what's gonna be in the way when the light projects. Simple enough. And then we're gonna do the rear and the same thing on the other side. All right, now we're at the rear. We have our spare tire delete, so we don't have to worry about that being in the way. These are on the 90-degree, so we're gonna put one there. That seems good. And then the other is gonna go right there. Both on the same bar, but they're to the side a bit. So just like that, boom, rear is done. All right, front and rear, and both sides buttoned up. Those brackets make it much easier for your install. You're not self-tapping into them, so into the frame, anything like that, makes it that much easier. The wheel liners, we're putting 2 in each wheel well. We are gonna do kind of at an angle, so one here, and then the other here. They're gonna project inwards towards the wheels. And this here is already an example of like how you're gonna mount them. So we have both rock lights on this one already mounted up. So we have this one here and here. They're both on the flat rubber mounts. And then you just drill 3 holes exactly as the rubber mount is. So one with where your wire's coming out, and then your nut and bolt through both. And then you can see here, I've combined both power and ground to these wires, and they're going to this little harness here. So this harness is super nice if you ever happen to take your wheel liner back out. It's very convenient to just unplug it, so if you can fully take it out and it's not still just hardwired into the vehicle. All right guys, so now we got the wheel liners all buttoned up and those rock lights mounted on those. Now we're coming back to the front, and this is where we begin the wiring process. So this is the tedious part. This is gonna take most of your time doing all this. So I like to start from the front and work my way down to the passenger side, and then to the rear, and then the driver's side. And then we will go through the cab, obviously, and then we gotta run a wire to your battery, and we'll do that in the driver's side wheel well. So that's typically how I do it. So all it is, now that we have everything mounted under the truck, I usually just grab these wires and we'll combine all of them. So I'll have the ground power here to these rock lights, and then I'll solder them, and then I will grab our wire here, just ground and power, and I'll start running wire all the way through like the wheel liner and then along the body, and it's a single wire. So each time we get to a point where a rock light is on the side of the vehicle, I'm gonna splice into this wire. I'm gonna cut it in the middle, and then we'll splice the power ground, and then we'll keep going all the way along the entire body until we get back to the driver's side. This is the wire we have here, getting into the wheel liner area. I do have it running alongside the frame right now, and I have it coming through this wheel well here. And then I'm going to show you pretty much the process of getting in this this harness here, this little plug. So I'm going to show you how I splice into the wire. So I kind of just pull the slack that I have here. I kind of reference it because I know that the plug's going to be somewhere in this area, and that's where it is on the wheel liner. So I just kind of reference that, and I just kind of pull the slack here, And then I know this is gonna be like my cut area on the wire. So pretty much how I splice, I don't cut the actual wire, I'm just kind of like lightly cutting like around it, that insulation basically, just lightly pushing and squeezing it there. I'll do that one area, then I'll come down, and then I'll do it probably like right there, like a good few inches there. And then from there, I'll grab my blade here, and I'll carefully cut along that wire all the way to that other cut. And then you should be able to just kind of grab that wire and peel it off if your cut is deep enough. Just like that. And that insulation should just come right off. Wires are exposed, power and ground here. So now I'm gonna do the same type of thing, but just with the blade. I'm gonna kind of grab it like that, and I know that I'm gonna have this area exposed, probably like this much. So I'm just gonna blade it like this, and then cut around the wire. Same thing down here. And then here I'll do the same exact thing as I did on the bigger piece of the wire. Just cut a little slit through it. There. Like that. And I'll be able to open it. And there's the exposed wire there. Just like that. And then we'll do the same thing on the top. Alright, and then the wire is exposed there. Just like that. Alright, wire's exposed. So now I have our plug here. So I'm going to kind of just get the blade right through the center of those wires. And I'll just open it up like that. And same thing with the bottom. Just kind of like that. And then I'll feed this wire through the red, your power. And I'll just twist it in there. That. And reopen this. Same thing with the ground. Feed it through that hole, and then I'll just twist it all up. Just like that. So your harness should be just connected like that, and then next we'll solder it, and then we'll electrical tape it and clean it up. This is basically the process on the harness part of it. You're gonna do this each wheel well for each wheel liner that you have. Obviously only the 4 plugs, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it'll kind of be the same process for splicing your other rock lights to this wire that you have running throughout the truck. You just don't need the plug, of course, so it's just gonna be power and ground on each rock light. And then you'll splice it the exact same way as I did here. And then you'll just work your way all throughout the rest of the side of the truck. And then all the way up until you get to about the driver's side door, and that's when we'll start routing wires a different way through the firewall and through the cab for the switch and stuff like that. So I know we talked about using the relay earlier in the video, but for this certain truck, in this application, we aren't really gonna need it. It does come down to like certain trucks and vehicles, but with this one we can get away with not needing it. We couldn't really show the in-process, like the in-depth of how we're running it through the fender well and getting it into the engine bay. There's no really perfect way to do it. It's kind of up to you. You just kind of got to make sure that your wires aren't like in any area where they're gonna get pinched or something like that. There's no exact perfect way to do it, but just know that we ran it through the wheel, the fender well there, and then, you know, to the switch also inside the cab. I will show, we do have the wires, the rest of the wires ran through the wheel well here, and we also have the switch mounted in the vehicle. You could mount that wherever you want. So we have the 3-pin, so we have the accessory, and then we have ground and power off of that switch. So at the moment, I went ahead and did the accessory wire, ran that from the switch inside the cab, and I ran that through this wheel well, and then now I have that accessory wire straight to your power on the battery. So that's wired here, and then I also have the ground from where the end of the rock lights are finished, and also the ground off of the switch. So I twisted those together and I put them both on this ground here, and then also the switches power and also the end of the power on the rock lights are tied here together. These aren't going to need to go anything because they are going off of this auxiliary switch right here. So, and I will show you the inside of the cab and kind of how I ran the wires there too. It's a little difficult to show you in this little tight area, but I do have the switch mounted up to an OEM little panel that's tucked inside under the center console here. So I do have the power and ground off of this switch going through this little boot here. So it's not exactly through the firewall, but it's under the footwell. This little gasket just happened to be here and it's open. So I had room to like not, you know, interfere with any other wires. So I have the power and ground coming off right here, and I have the accessory coming through this one as well, and it's going through the fender well there, and that's how we got to the battery. So that's basically how it's wired up right now. And then it should, you know, there's your on switch and off. So it is all hardwired and pretty much good to go. The rest of it, I'm just going to kind of button stuff back up, make sure I'm not pinching any wires, zip tie anything that happens to be loose. You don't want it, you know, looking all jaggedy, and we'll go from there. Cab is all wrapped up. We have stuff buttoned up in there. Switch is all good to go. And then the last step we have is putting these wheel liners back in. So as you can, I'm going to show you the example. We have this wired already. It should be just a nice plug and play here. Boom, just like that. And all you gotta do is throw your wheel liner back in, make sure it's all good to go, and then we will show you the end product after it's all done. All right guys, truck is wrapped up, all the rock lights are wired, good to go. And as you can see, it wasn't too bad of an install. It does take some time, definitely be mindful of that. If you are interested in rock lights, our mounting brackets, head over to legendsautoparts.com. We'll get you taken care of there. These mounting brackets are definitely a game changer. They help so much make this a quicker install. Head over there today, and we'll see you on the next install.